Good day, students. I'm teacher CJ and I'm teaching conversation in grade 5. And today's lesson is about poetry. Have your students' book ready and open it on page 90. There are 3 things that we are going to learn today, so please pay attention. The first is poetry. Say it with me. Poetry. Good. Second is poems. Can you say that again? Poems. And the last is different kinds of poems. Are you ready? Okay, let's begin. Poetry has a long history. Thousands of years ago, when most people could not read or write, poets told stories about the adventures of men and women in the form of poems. Poetry is still popular today. And what's so great about it is that anyone can write it. Yes, you heard it right. I can write a poem, and you can write your poem too. Poems can be about people, objects, animals, the weather, and feelings. In fact, they can be about anything. Poems often rhyme, but they don't have to. I will give you 3 examples of poems. The first example is by the American poet Jack Prelutsky. The title of his poem is My Mother Makes Me Chicken. You can read it with me. Ready? My mother makes me chicken. Her chicken makes me cough. I wish that when she made it, she took the feathers off. Did you like it? You did? That's great. Who made the chicken? Right, his mother. But why did he cough? It's because she didn't take the feathers off the chicken. The second poem is by Roger Mcgough, an English poet. The title of his poem is Fame. Here's how it goes. The best thing about being famous is when you walk down the street and people turn round to look at you and bump into things. Would you like to be famous? The last example is by Shel Silverstein, who began writing when he was 12 years old. Shel Silverstein also wrote plays and music for movies. The title of his poem is Spaghetti. Spaghetti, spaghetti all over the place, up to my elbow, up to my face, over the carpet and under the chairs, into the hammock and wound round the stairs, filling the bathtub and covering the desk, making the sofa a mud mushy mess. The party is ruined, I'm terribly worried. The guests have all left, unless they're all buried. I told them, bring presents. I said, throw confetti. I guess they heard wrong, 'cause they all threw spaghetti. It is very important that you pay attention because you are going to write your own poetry by following these models after our discussion. Now watch how these poems are done. Let's have The Story I'm Going to Write by George Sirao. There is a castle There are dragons. There is a black knight. There is a queen. And there are lots of fights in the story I'm going to write. We'll follow this model to make your own poem. How to do it? First, you have to think about the story. It could be about magic, princes and princesses, witches and dragons, or any good story that comes into your mind. You can start by writing there is and there are. Remember, you use the verb is for singular nouns and are for plural nouns. Once you have all the characters, settings, and conclusions of your story, you may finish it with the phrase in the story I'm going to write. I am so excited to hear all of your stories. It's writing time. This is to guide you in your writing. We have 4 steps in your screen. What is the first step? Yes, imagine. I want you to close your eyes and imagine the best or the coolest story that you want to write. Once you have made up the story in your mind, it's time to proceed to the next step, which is write. Grab your pen and paper, gather your ideas, and start writing a draft of your poem. Step 3. Check. You need to check the spelling of the words and the capitalization of the letters in your vocabulary usage. And the last step is step 4. Read. Read your poem to your friends, siblings, your mother or your father, or to anyone you like. Next is Acrostic by Carlos Valejo. Chicken loving, angry sometimes, runs fast, lucky, one sister, super soccer player. What you have to do in this model is to choose a word. It could be a person, a place name, an animal, or a school subject. As you can see in the example, he used the name Carlos. Then he put the letters in a vertical line and wrote a word or a phrase beginning with the letter of each line. Example, C for chicken loving. You have to describe everything that you have chosen. I'll have a feeling that I'll be reading a lot about your friends. Please remember these steps. Color poem by Ana Romero. White is the car that my mom drives. White are the flowers in our garden. White is the pen that I use. White is the board in our classroom. In this model, she chose the color white, and she wrote different and interesting things that are that color, like the car, the flowers, the pen, and the board. I know you can do this. I think all of you are going to nail this kind of poem. Are you excited to make your own? Awesome! Okay, let's go to the writing part. Lastly, I'd like you to write the final draft of your poems in an A4 paper. Make sure to follow all these steps, and you'll be proud to see your poems hanging on the walls of our classrooms. Again, this is Teacher CJ. Let's see each other again in the next video. Bye!